thanks for waiting, and sorry for making you wait. I had quite a rough day. First of all, yesterday I accidentally went to a different hotel, although I showed the correct address of the hotel. So I had quite trouble. And today, my laptop somehow decided not to be nice with me. So special thanks to Maggie. Thanks for lending me the laptop. So that's why I had to figure it out a little bit. But no more excuses. I hope you are enjoying React Conference Live, right? Are you? It's so great to hear that everyone is having fun, and I am also really excited too. Did you make sure to grab as many as swag as you can in the booth? Did you? What did you get? Stickers, T-shirts, bottles, mechanical keyboards? I think you heard enough from my colleague Alex, so let's skip it that way, about that part. But anyway, not wasting any more time, because I am here today to share with you a cool approach to localize your content in the world of the JamStack. Oh, but before getting started, there is going to be an Easter egg during my talk. So just in case, if you are probably going to fall asleep during my talk because it's almost the end of the day, make sure that to keep telling yourself that there will be an Easter egg, so you need to find. Anyway, so my name is Arisa Fukuzaki. I am originally from Japan, but yeah, right now I am living in South Germany. So yeah, at work, I work as a developer relations engineer at Storyblock. But besides from my work, because of course I want to introduce about myself in more personal level to get to know each other with everyone. So besides from my work, I am an ambassador at Girl Code. So there is an organization for women who are who want to change their careers into tech industries or want to become developers. As you could guess from what I am doing an ambassador at Girl Code, I have a strong passion about the programming education. So I occasionally taught, or do still, a mentor at Frontendlove school. I also believe strongly in communities because that's where I was able to gain my skills a lot. So I organized a Japanese tech community called Lilac with over hundreds of community members. All right, so let's get straight because I don't want to waste any more time because I have very limited time slot. So let me show you this project. Actually, this is going to be a demo that I'm going to show you to tell you, first of all, how you will be able to practically enable the localization in your JamStack project. Let's fingers crossed that all the demo will work because I am having a different environment set up today, but let's see. All right, so if you're interested in about this demo in your environment to test it out, here's the hands-on blog post tutorial. So in this tutorial, you will also find a GitHub repo available. All right, so as I promised you today, I am going to show you an interesting way, also an efficient way of making localization in your JamStack project. So there are multiple options that you can choose. So it's always good to have multiple options than instead of having just one option, right? How many of you suffered or had some difficult times that you only had very limited options to make localization, just out of curiosity? Okay, I see a few hands. Good, good. Yes, so if you have a very limited numbers of options to make localization, it's going to make not only your life, but everyone in your team's life would be really hard. So here's the thing, I paid attention or wanted to give a spotlight. So starting from the headless architecture, because for this JamStack architecture, I'm going to use the headless approach. So from the headless approach, I took a look at the options out there. So I found out that Storyblock actually provides two flexible options. So it's not just because I work at Storyblock that I'm going to talk about, but let me tell you the reason why I want to introduce you about the multiple options from there as a developer. So Storyblock allows developers to choose two ways of making localization. I said developers right now, but sorry, I mean to say for everyone in this case, because I'm also going to show you later on how the all the users who have the access to your project will be able to change the content and make the localization. So the first option is called field level translation, and the second option is called folder level translation. But I really want to show you like how exactly these options are going to be looked like. So here is first of all the field level translation. So in this GIF, you can see that you get to choose which kind of components or field type you want to make translation and localize your content. It means that if I want to leave, let's say, one component to distribute like all the default language in all the locales, I can do that. But the rest of the components, for example, in this teaser and the headline, I can localize the content. So that's how it works with the field level translation. Moving on to the folder level translation. So this is an approach that you will be able to separate the localized content in each folder level. So all the English content will stay inside of the English folder. Same thing applies for the Japanese and the German content. I shared with you how it works in a logic, but I haven't yet shared with you how exactly the content are going to be displayed in these two approaches. So starting from the field level translation. So field level translation will work the best if you want to distribute the content in exactly the same way. So imagine you have a home page in English and in Japanese, and you want to distribute exactly the same, this cute little bunny content for both languages. So if that's the case, field level translation could be one of the best choices you might want to consider. Moving on to the folder level translation. So if you want to distribute the content with different layout depending on the locales, then folder level translation could be one of the best approaches that you want to consider about. Because if you want to, for example, display this cute bunny component for both, let's say, locales, but for some reason I really want to add this cute kitten, why not, for Japanese homepage. In this case, I can just straight away choose the way to localize the content with folder level translation. So far, I shared with you that how you will be able to choose multiple options to make localization from headless approach. From now on, I am going to share with you the multiple options that you can choose to localize your content from front-end technology. So for this case, I chose Gatsby because you will be able to choose the way to serve your content with 3 options, starting from SSG by default, or SSR if you want, or differ static generations if you want to shorten the time of your build. And the things I want to do from the front-end technology side, I have 2 things to do. So my first to do is fixing the slug depending on the localized language of the content. And the second to do is creating the logic of automatically generating the pages. So let's get started with the first to do from front-end side. So I want to fix the slug, right? So to fix the slug, I am going to define a helper function to put some logic in it. There are only 2 things that I am putting the logic in here. So for example, imagine that you are a German speaker and visited the German home page. You don't want to see, or you don't expect to see that your home page has this extra /home slug being added, right? For me, I'm kind of perfectionist, so I really have, like some feeling that I really want to remove this home extra, slug being added. So I can just simply replace this home string into an empty string. And there's another situation that we want to consider about. That is going to be if the user visits let's say the default language of one of the blog posts. I don't want to see the default language of the slug being added. In this case, en / in the beginning. So what I'm doing is pretty much the same, just different slug to remove. All right, moving on to the second to-do. So I want to create the logic of generating the pages in more programmatical way, so that your users or your team members would be able to generate the pages from the headless CMS dashboard. To do that, there are actually, well, more options is better, right? But let me first of all narrow down which options that I want to use in this case. So first option, well, first of all, Gatsby provides 3 options, but let's start from the first option. So first option is create files under the specific directories that will detect or recognize that you created, for example, about.js file, so I am going to generate about page. But this approach may work for developers. However, I'm not going to recommend you this way for, let's say, business users. They will get the heart attack if they need to open the text editor. So we don't want them to take this way. So moving on to the second option, which is actually going to be using the Create Pages API that is provided from Gatsby. So you see this pink highlighted part with one of the example of the slug. If you want to have a very specific control over let's say, like configuring the slug during the process of generating the pages, I would recommend you to use this Create Pages API, because then if you want to remove the slug of the default language, such as EN, you will have more control with this Create Pages API. Moving on to the option 3. So option 3 would be, well, using the file system route API that is, again, provided from Gatsby side. In this case, it's going to be much performant because you will be able to reduce a lot of numbers of template source code files. So yeah, officially, this is also recommended from Gatsby side as well. But this case would work the best, in my opinion, if you do not have to eliminate, let's say, any locales of the slug. Now we know that we are going to use, or we can use actually 2 options that are provided from Gatsby to generate the pages. So let's take a look at the queries for 2 types of the page templates. In this demo project, I have 2 page templates. First of all, for home page, the similar kind of layout of the pages, I use the page template called page. However, for each blog post page, I am going to apply a different page template, because simply it's easier to configure different components so that I can apply for all the similar blog post pages to differentiate the layout of the pages. So Gatsby provides an IDE called Graphical. So in this playground, you will be able to see some certain queries. For example, in this case, I am specifically filtering the page template for blog post, so that you will be able to see what kind of queries are available from GraphQL side and what kind of values that you will be able to get it. And this is an example, again, for a page template. So you see the values in the field components are being differentiated depending on the equal filter that I put for different page templates. All right, so from now on, I'm going to show you the way how you can actually generate the pages with these 2 approaches. So starting from Create Pages API. So as I said earlier, this approach will have, or will give you more flexibility to generate the pages with configuring more details of the slug. And the things you need to do in this approach are 2 things. First of all, you are going to call the queries that you made sure on the graphical at Gatsby Node.js file. And then after that, you're going to pass these queries into each templates file. So it means in this demo project, I am going to create 3 source code files related to generating the pages. This is an example of the Gatsby Node.js. Don't worry about bunch of lines. For now, all everything what I want you to pay attention in here is just the green highlighted part. So let's start from the first green highlighted part. This line will contain the queries that we took a look at together in the previous slides. So in this case, I am actually showing you the example of the page template. And then in the second highlighted part, green highlighted part of line of the code, is actually loading the content per pages, so that this context property will be able to pass over the rest of the following queries into each page templates. I am going to show you only the page template for now, because blog post page template will also have almost exactly the same architecture. So we call the queries, first of all, in Gatsby.js file, and then pass these rest of the queries into the context property, right? So right now, here at the page context props, that is what I am actually passing the rest of the following queries coming from Gatsby.js, so that you will be able to return and render the necessary queries and with the components. So after understanding and also taking a look at the way to generate the pages with Create Pages API, now let's move on to generate the pages with File System Route API. So in this approach, the only thing you need to do is just one simple step. You can just create one page, and you can store the queries to reach out and retrieve your queries to get the full slug, and just assign these paths into a name of this file, and make sure to wrap with the curly braces. And that is the only source code file that you need to create with the File System Route API for the process to generate the pages. So you can actually reduce from 3 pages into just 1 page. In this source code, what I am doing in here is that, well, let's pay attention, first of all, at the first green highlighted part. So in here, what I'm doing is that if the name of the page has the value of home, then I am going to apply the page template. Remember that I told you that I have 2 page templates, and I am going to show you where I can actually define these page templates later at the story block side. And then in the other conditional statement, what I am doing is that in the second line part, if the name of the page doesn't contain the name of the home, then I am going to apply a different page template, which is actually the blog post. And then you can just simply return this templates component in the scope of JSX. All right, so now it's the demo time, and wish me luck that it's going to work. So let's see that. Thanks a lot. All right. I really have a really bad eyesight, and I only can see from the monitor in here. So if I need your help, I might scream, so feel free to help me. Anyway, so this is the visual editor that you can see, or you are seeing right now from the story block side. So as you can see in here, you can see all the preview already on the fly in one page. What I'm going to do is actually going to duplicate one of the folders that I have. Let's say duplicate from German. This is copy, right? Thank you. Oh man, I really had to bring my glasses. Okay, so let's assign the name of this folder as Japanese slug, and let's duplicate. And there you go. Is this Japanese folder? Yes. Okay, thank you. This is really great. I only can do that with in-person conference. And at this moment, I generated the pages, but remember, this demo is built with SSG, means that the most updated content will be loaded how do I say? I need to rebuild, basically. So I am going to rerun. Oops, not that. It's quite challenging to use, different configuration of the VS Code. Let's see how it goes. And as we are waiting right now in here, I can actually show you the place where you can define 2 different page templates. Let's make it bigger because I also cannot see that. So in here, you see, here is the page template of the blog post, right? So if I choose that, you can see all the field types that I define for each blog post. So you should be able to see the title, images, intro, etc. And then there should be a page. There you go, having the different layout of the page template. And as you define these components, regardless of the sizes, whether it's page templates or just the small button component, you will be able to reuse these components as many as you want. So let's go back to JA. There you go. So I duplicated the content from German. That's why now you see hello world in German. So let's start to translate the content. So the beauty of using the real-time visual editor is that you can see actually the there is no Japanese configuration. Yeah, man, I really wanted to show the Japanese cool part in here, but let's skip it. It's okay, you still will be able to see some different content in here. Yeah, so what I was doing is that assume that I am typing things in here in Japanese. So this new article in German would be ideally in Japanese, but let's see that. Things happens, but it's okay. At least the demo is working. So if you want to also change the orders of the components, you also can do that. And let's hit the save button. And for that, I do not need to, rerun to, build again. For this, I can just quickly do a quick build. So let's see that. Reload. Then I should be able to see all the changes that I have made. Yep, there you go. And now, as a user's perspective, let's say that I have visited this project. I think it's this one right now. I don't want to, manually type the slug of JA in here. Instead, I want to have a nice, Japanese option being displayed. So what you could do from the, developer side, you can actually add this nice little Japanese option in here. So this is a navigation component, and you can actually copy these, German list element. And what I'm going to do is paste in there. This is the last one, right? So change the slug from the E to JA. And I am conditionally going to return if the selections of the slug is equal to JA, then I am going to apply this purple background in here. And let's change here the string into JA. Save it. And then there is a layout component that is actually importing this navigation component so that you will be able to use these two components as global component. What I'm going to do is just pay attention in this one line in here. Oh, right there. So you see that I have added two languages, in this case German and in English. Let's add JA slug in here. So then I will be able to conditionally returning the selection of my language is matching with the selection of the language that I have selected. Then I am going to return the language dynamically. If not, for some reason, then I am going to return the default language of i18n. So let's save it and see what it happened. There you go. Now I can select this Japanese, slug of my choice, going back to i18n, going to German, etc. And then for English home, there is a English content only component available. I feel like really lucky today. Oh God, yeah. I hope you still have some interest about an Eastern egg that I'm going to share with you. So let's just keep going on. Why not? All right, what I was saying is that I'm only accessible in English component, and for German, there is not. And for Japanese, home page, you see the components are in different orders. So let's go to Eastern eggs. Or, oh, sorry, there's one more slide. If you're interested in about to share, if you're interested in about to configure and build your project with Storyblok with many other front-end technologies such as Next.js Remix, why not? Because we just recently launched our 5 minutes tutorial too, so you can check that out. you can take a look at all the sources from here. And there you go, finally. Thanks for waiting. So there's an Easter egg for you. Make sure to prepare your camera. So if you get access to this URL, then you will be able to have 3 months for free for higher, subscription plan available. So you will be able to enjoy some, for example, e-commerce features or the other, additional features available from there. But of course, as a developer, if you want to play around for solo seat, it's free, so you can test it out from just right now. And if you have any questions, because I would like to hear your opinions, any feedbacks, or even feature requests, feel free to drop us a message. There's an official Discord community available, and you can always reach out to me with my Twitter account, so you can just send me a DM as well. And not to forget, I'm the one giving a talk today, although there were like a lot of really tons of accidents happen. But I really want to say a huge thank you to my team at SWORLD, as well as all of you guys decided to be in Amsterdam and shared with me a very insightful, learning time together. All right, that will be all. And again, thanks everyone for watching my talk, and let's enjoy the rest of the conference.